It appears that the material guy Santana has been shaking his booty everywhere. He recently released a small, dubious list of men who, he says, allegedly contracted HIV after having an affair with Young Miami, didn't smoke, and pulled up with some receipts that could damage everyone's reputations. Young Miami has supposedly been out here giving several men stuff they can't get rid of, according to Santana, and admirers instantly linked Diddy to the dots. However, if that wasn't crazy enough, while posing as a boss babe on social media, Santana is also apparently saying that she has been funded by a whole secret list of schlucker daddies. Big names, huge checks, private jets, and silent transactions. Fans are now going crazy, wondering who is on the list, who they caught, and why Santana is now resorting to violence. Is he attempting to destroy her entire brand? Or is this just out of loyalty or jealousy? In any case, this became one of the most outrageous exposes we've seen this year. It's only going to get messier from here, everyone. Therefore, most people assumed it was just another bestie fall-off that would pass in a few days when the material began to grow between Salty Santana and Young Miami. The City Lady. But after weeks and weeks, things are getting hotter rather than cooler. This is no longer only a small-minded remark, folks. Now that Santana is out there name-dropping her sugar daddies and putting all of her business on the streets, the feud is becoming worse. Furthermore, if even half of the statements made are accurate, we have yet to witness the worst of it. Everyone is now aware that the conflict began when Young Miami supposedly cheated on Santana for Diddy and became enraged when the two allegedly started dating. Santana claims that Young Miami allegedly attempted to pressure him into interfering with Diddy, which is why everything really went awry. If you understand what I mean, Diddy is a bad boy for life. Even though he made it apparent that fetching wasn't happening with Diddy, he said she persisted in attempting to make it happen. Such is that, particularly given that Diddy was already seeing her. However, Miami supposedly persisted in pressing the matter. And eventually, things became so awkward that Santana began to distance herself from Miami, which is when the tension really began to rise. Their friendship soon came to an abrupt end. The crazy thing is that they managed to be back on good terms despite all of that chaos. And Santana purportedly linked up with Diddy shortly after that. However, how they reconciled and returned to each other's lives is a mystery. However, it's obvious that something changed behind the scenes. Maybe dollar bills, everyone? However, they fell out again for some reason. And Santana didn't waste any time in telling everyone why this time. He claimed that Young Miami was the one who had been chatting with her and promoting the rumor that he and Diddy were involved. And you recall that Whack 100 went viral announcing that Diddy was throwing crazy parties with Santana and Miami. Santana is now claiming that the tea came from Miami. And she is also accused of feeding Whack 100 the tail behind his back. Yes, you had already seen Gene. But Gene claimed to have seen it, and we overheard him tell Fabulous, "No, I'd rather throw a party." Come on, guy. What does that mean? That implies a celebration that takes place behind closed doors. Man, pay attention. Just so you know, he had to explain the party. That sounds like some Illuminati underscore. Stop it. That's some sultry Santana underscore. We got something there. Stop it, please. It was you who suggested that Puffy and the female Psy would be hosting parties. Don't pretend that you didn't say it. Bro, tuck your tail. Wait. The ice cream truck. Since I'm here, I must say this. I visited Miami's Puff House. Yes, that is true. I got the, Star Puff style remix from Puff Puff as a result of the intense speculations. Salty Santy openly disputed the accusations, saying that he never had an intimate relationship with Hid. They said that you would accompany him. The question they were asking was, do you know how much they used to irritate me? They would say that I never believed it, but I know Sen10 from when I was on YouTube. First of all, I don't even play that motherfucker game. We aren't doing that. And Carisha isn't with anything that's gay, baby, so that affected me. I think that's cliche. I don't understand why you guys say that I'm my best friend. Like, come on, what are we doing? Yes, but my best friend isn't me. Yes, 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 it is outside. I don't want to chat then. I refused to give it. It was rejected by the crowd. Like, not for a single second. They spread like wildfire after being dumped. Furthermore, what began as rumors or sloppy blogs swiftly evolved into extensive conjecture on social media. Diddy's friendship with Young Miami was criticized for perhaps being a front, a well-planned diversion in order to conceal the true story. The internet claims that Diddy and Salty Santana were the primary players in this affair, with Miami serving as a front while Diddy kept his personal affairs under wraps. Eventually, Santana came clean and at least shared his version of events. He asserted in a startling interview that Miami was the one who surreptitiously released the entire thing. He claimed that she was growing envious of Diddy's apparent preference for him over her. Additionally, rather than facing the circumstance, she made the decision to subvert it covertly. And as the rumors began to circulate and things were out of control, Diddy abruptly stopped talking to Santana. Santana claims that Diddy wasn't prepared to cope with that kind of situation, particularly since many were already doubting his sexual orientation. Therefore, there were no calls or explanations. Okay, so you're not allowed to ask questions. I am unable to. All right, you're correct. No. Okay. Let's give him some applause. No inquiries were made. Yes, this is a question. Do you ever post information about your friends on social media? Yes. Why? I'm subjected to it. Are you in Miami? No, she doesn't. She does, indeed. What did she say about you? She talks a lot. No, she doesn't. It's my private matter out there. She kept naming several men I was dating to the world, which is how I started Crucial Please. Why would you? So yes, it feels like the messiest kind of retaliation when Santana exposes Young Miami for supposedly having HIV and giving it to her sugar daddies. Not only is the tea hot, but it's scalding darling while it spills. Santana is revealing everything as if he has nothing left to lose, from alleged covert illnesses to high-profile hookups. And it's causing war, not just drama. Young Miami's suspected HIV was revealed by Santana, which was not really on anyone's 2025 drama card. However, here we are. At first, people assumed that Young Miami was upset about Diddy's background being revealed in court when they saw her going on a crazy Twitter tirade, stating things like, "I'm not sharing my next ninja," you know, the typical vibe of a jealous ex. Then, however, things became gloomy. There were rumors that Young Miami was furious because she had just learned that Diddy reportedly got the H from sleeping with those people during their freak-offs. And it had nothing to do with her jealousy. Furthermore, he allegedly spread it to other people, including Young Miami. They claim that she lost it all when the news hit her. Insiders further claim that she lost her temper, criticized Day on social media, and accused him of putting her life in danger without warning her. And what began as indistinct little tweets swiftly escalated into a full-scale conflict. On the internet. The story is far from over, especially now that Santana is stoking the flames. Let's take a quick look back at something that has been simmering for months. Before we even get into the tumultuous back and forth between Santana and Young Miami. Because, shockingly, before Santana's audacious charges ever appeared on the internet or timeline, people were already making assumptions about Day's hip status. It all began when D.I. appeared in court for the first time. You recall how social media exploded with inquiries about why he appeared so sickly, thin, and fragile. Then, the whisper began quietly at first, but quickly became louder. People started claiming that it appeared to be a medical emergency. Naturally, the notion that gained the most traction on the internet was that Diddy might be covertly fighting HIV. And even though it was just conjecture at first, it only grew louder as more details began to fit together. Okay, Santana essentially came out to corroborate everything. He had a lot to say about it too. The funny thing is that Miami didn't fire Diddy due to his HIV status. He supposedly stopped wanting to pay her debts, so she dumped him. She had no intention of remaining and being Diddy's boob bang for nothing. Discuss whether you can cover my expenses. Are you able to cover my phone bills? Although Santana is not the first to make such assertions, they certainly sound a little outlandish. It's been a minute since the streets began to whisper. A source close to Young Miami claims that Diddy is no longer covering Young Miami's expenses. Reporters were informed by the acquaintance that day had been paying for shopping trips, private planes, and even the rent for a penthouse in Miami. However, his benefits seem to have ended. Although he still got her a Christmas present, he isn't treating her as he used to. According to the same source, Diddy still desired a friendship with Young. But she wasn't interested in maintaining a cutesy relationship unless the money was flowing. They said that Diddy's mental health was also lacking. Geisha is exactly the kind of person he needs in his life. Even though the money is essential, she genuinely cares about him. Indeed, therefore, if he wants her company, he must resume paying. But why did it become much more messy, everyone? Young Miami didn't exactly hang up her jersey after leaving, according to Saucy Santana. Diddy, no. It seems that she simply changed lanes and continued playing the same game. She had a fresh prize in sight this time. After Diddy cut her off, Miami quickly found another rich man to support her lifestyle, according to Saucy Santana. And you know who supposedly took Diddy's place? PRP Thomas, the head honcho of quality controls. That P from QC indeed. Santana claims that there was an alleged behind-the-scenes relationship between Miami and P. Furthermore, if Saucy Santana is it's true that this isn't merely a harmless fling. He claims that, in order to maintain her lifestyle, she had affairs with influential people in the industry. And after Diddy, P just so happened to be next in line. P was also unaware that Miami was reportedly infected with HIV from Diddy, although the whispers have been there for years. It seems like they are becoming louder now because of Santana. He also said that she had an affair with Pete to keep the city girls from being fired, not out of love. However, let's fast forward a bit. Something changed around the time their numbers started to decline and the label allegedly started discussing severing relations internally. According to insiders, Miami had no intention of letting her entire brand fail. It is said that she made a new style of play rather than waiting around to get dumped, with late-night calls, off-the-book link-ups, and moments that were never meant to leave the room. Gordon and Saw Santana Miami began to cozy up to Pierre, something that's not music or business, much more intimate. According to the streets, it was more about survival than strategy. Furthermore, Santana no longer dropped names carelessly. He blatantly claimed that Miami came dangerously close to drawing attention. Santana is adamant that something happened behind the scenes that no one is discussing, even though Pierre has never acknowledged or refuted the claims. Worst of all, Young Miami never disclosed to him that she might have HIV. But wait a moment. As Santana was still letting her hair down, he said Young Miami didn't simply go on to someone else. According to reports, she also doubled back to her baby daddy Southside after spinning the block. What's even more crazy is that Miami typically keeps her personal life private, because no one even guessed that she was still secretly manipulating Southside. Not a hint, not a whisper. She led everyone to believe that it was just a matter of co-parenting. However, Southside himself insisted that their split was amicable. He stated that rather clearly in a previous interview. Simply refraining from sexual activity is essential to maintaining a friendly or co-parenting relationship. You are not allowed to have sex with your baby mama. I also got a girlfriend. Therefore, you and your girlfriend are unable to have sex with your baby mama. However, based on Santana's claims, the entire speech may have been a cab. The really heated part, though, was when he suggested that Diddy and Southside may have collaborated on 3 songs while in Miami. It's also intriguing because, as I'm sure you all recall, Southside once said, "Diddy, come get you. Be my ninja." If Southside was indeed involved with Diddy and Young Miami, as Santana seems to be implying, then his risk in this entire HIV situation may be greater than we initially believed. The most startling aspect isn't even that. Santana claims that Southside has also been covertly funding Young Miami's way of life. Now, although the reality behind the scenes is very different, She loves to portray herself as this self-made boss with sold-out events and thriving enterprises. Without the DB connection, her financial influence doesn't go as far as she likes her admirers to think. And the majority of her endeavors haven't been profitable. The twist is that Southside can't really be out here publicly lavishing his ex with cash because he has a new girlfriend. However, Santana asserts that he has discovered a way to conceal the financial assistance by disguising it as a sizable child support payment for their daughter Summer. It appears that the homegirl has been deceiving more than we initially believed. Thus, Miami hijinks are more complex than we realize. The deepest secrets of Young Miami's entire come-up may have been revealed by saucy Santana alone. This wasn't just one, as evidenced by Diddy's purported HIV status and a long list of sugar daddies, powerful people in the industry, and covert ex-partners. It was a complete takedown. The most outrageous aspect is that Miami hasn't spoken. No clapback, no denial, just stillness. We must now ask, is silence a tactic or a confession? Is her silence a confession or a tactic? Because Miami may be dealing with a scandal greater than anything she has ever avoided. If even half of what Santana revealed is accurate, I have a feeling that this story is far from over, so stay tuned. My squirrel. Tuned. My squirrel.